Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and today, brothers and sisters, holy cows, man. I am just filled with joy and inspiration and praise, and I don't want to be overwhelmed. And I don't want to share any confusion. Lord knows there's enough confusion in this world, but my sincere appreciation and gratitude goes out to all of you who are tuning in and joining in with me today in the here and now while I'm live, or at the here and now in your future, my future, your present, when you tune in and press play later. Blessings to all of you, sincerely, and thank you for joining today. Today, my purpose and my intention, honestly, is to share some church, right? I went to services this morning, and I tell you what, there's a description, or in the description of the video, at least on YouTube, is a link to the services I attended at Life Center. I'm so blessed by this life I've been living. And I've got so many notes today, so many things I want to share and offer. So I encourage you, as you can, and as you're willing, and if you're able, grab a pen, piece of paper, right? Maybe make some notes today of what you might consider helpful. Because that's what I was doing today at church. And I tell you what, I'm just filled with praise and with faith. And I want to share it, hopefully smoothly, right? Like I said, I don't want to share confusion. What I do want is for the truth of God's love and the experience, my honest testimony of my life to flow smoothly for you to hopefully have fun with and enjoy. Because today it really is all about love. I hope to help anyone tuning in to realize within yourself the simplicity of peace. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so pleasurable. And hey, before I forget, blessings. Thank you for popping in again, Virgil. Blessings to you all the way across the water for me. But additionally, my focus seems to be more on the YouTube thing, but I know I'm sharing out on Rumble and Facebook. So please do the thing that helps, the follow, the subscribe, whatever. Do what you want to do. Today, my purpose, honestly, like I said, I want to share some church, but let's flow with the definitions of what I mean. Church is a coming together. It's a joining together of fellowship for the purposes of praise, of learning and expanding and growing in our knowledge and our wisdom regarding the truth of God's love. God's love is my focus today for our time together in church. And where we are, each of us, we are each within our own temple, right? God resides in the temple. There's a temple that God resides within, in your temple, in your mind, within your beingness. God's presence is your awareness of I am. That is with you and me right here and now in the present. Can you feel that breath of life that breathes you? That's the evidence of God and God's love. So what I want to do is join our temples together in the presence of God, right? Joining together, unifying ourselves with the truth See, when we resonate with the truth, there's no conflicts, there's no disagreements. The truth is, well, the truth is God. God is the truth. And the truth, hmm, well, that's a mystery that continues to grow with us and around us and through us all. The truth is God. The way is love. So, what is the result of love? Well, that's a mystery as well. That's something we can all grow to become more intimate with, right? That's the relationship. See, I'm getting off here, man. I'm getting away from some of my notes into newer ideas. So now what do I do? I keep flowing. The topic, realizing the simplicity of peace. What is peace, right? Peace is the absence of conflict. Peace is the absence of resentment, of guilt, of shame, of, the negativity that brings us discomfort. Peace is the stillness of being, and it's always available within us. See, this is what I've been realizing more and more. The sermon this morning, please, and again, I encourage you, check it out, share some love, and there's a gifted ministry there that's happening at Life Center Church. Today, the topic that was spoke about there was the spirit and enemies. Enemies being, what is an enemy? It's an opposition. An opposition, the enemy varies based on time and intensity. What was taught through the scripture, the actions and the demonstrations of Jesus, right? It was love. Love thy enemy. And you know what? Better yet, why create enemies? Just find peace with everyone and everything that the moments reveal to us. See, this is what I've been realizing. What was the thumbnail? The thumbnail had some importance too today. There we go. So, Psalm 56, 3, 4. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In thee, meaning the Father. To me, this is my interpretation. In thee is to the Father, and in God I will praise his word. In God is the truth. I will praise his word. His words are true. I will praise the truth. In the truth, in God, right? God is the truth. In the truth, I've put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. What can flesh do unto me? It can bring us the experience of pain. The flesh can bring us the experience of sorrow, of suffering, of guilt, of betrayal. The flesh can bring us all sorts of temporary things. So, what I've been learning to trust, right, is to feel, right? Fill your spirit, feel your spirit with the strength of wisdom and with the power of love. Those things, man, wisdom and love, love of wisdom, the wisdom of love, that the wisdom that love brings. Love brings forth our experience, love brings forth our life. Love is. Love. Love is God. There's no separation from God, love, the truth, and life. Those things, they are all inclusive, one and together. So wisdom and love, the power of and the strength of wisdom and the power of love are eternally available for us to know. We just need to remember. It's really that simple. We've just got to remember that there are answers to our problems. There's answers to everything. And I tell you what, God is the answer. You get to define within you what that means. You get to define within you what everything means. You are the meaning making machine of your life. You are co creating your reality through your words. God allows you to be, God allows the breath to breathe, God allows words to be spoken, but we are the regulators. We're the ones who are supposed to seek, to become honest witnesses, honest participants in this experience of life that's coming forth. The only ones who can corrupt, we are the only ones who can corrupt ourselves. You are the only one who can corrupt you, regardless of what the world offers, regardless of the pain, the discontent, the corruption you see, you individually, me individually. We're the only ones who can corrupt ourselves. So what does it mean to be corrupted? Well, the idea of enemies is actually a corruption of our mind. See, I receive these reminders that, when Yeshua, Jesus walked, when God allowed the world to receive, the creation of Jesus, at that time, he was born through the Jewish bloodline, whatever the right word is. But they had the idea that they were the chosen ones, right? That they were above the Gentiles, the others. So it was under that past tradition that God had been communicating with, and they'd been diligent record keepers. But through that line came forth the teachings of Jesus. And what Jesus was showing, what Jesus was teaching through his gifts to mankind, it was to all the world, unifying us all, overcoming the divisions and the separations that had been. That was the purpose of what God was teaching us, is how to bring forth peace, not wars. The wars is a betrayal. The wars and enemies idea, that's something brought down by the fallen angels. It's not ours. It's not in our benefit to follow that. This idea of being at war with everything, each other, ourselves, that's what mankind has been doing through the legislation of corporations and governments. Man, the evidence of our betrayal, our own betrayal, mankind's betrayal, it's clear and obvious. So, the way to overcome enemies is sincerely to love them as a friend. And what I've been realizing, the confirmations I find are so many in this way, right? Uh, the fact that we are energetic beings, right? Oh my gosh, I had so many. I'm really getting away from the outline I had in my head here, but blessings to everyone joining in. Yes, this is what I'm realizing. The falling angels brought forth the fakeness. The fakeness is the temptation to betray the truth. That's something I remember. As we unite together, and here's where I am, where I feel myself, why I'm inviting us to consider that this is church, this is fellowship. We're speaking together as brothers and sisters, seeking the truth, wanting to know love. Because who I am today is I am a disciple of Jesus. I'm here to share praise and worship, the love of God. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to offer forth our blessings. When we have the ideas of blessings, we're supposed to pursue those ideas. Don't worry about the temporary discomfort. Don't worry about the fleshly suffering that you might face. Maybe you'll be ridiculed, or maybe you'll maybe you'll feel a lack by offering forth, sacrificing from yourself in order to serve another. Maybe that's true. Lean into it. That's what we're here to do. We're here to love one another, to bring forth the blessings, the good ideas that God will allow us to find. Every opportunity and every problem we discover comes through our awareness. We have the opportunity to pay attention to each moment of our lives. It becomes, well, that's where God reveals the truth. The truth of our lives is revealed to us, through us, with us, moment by moment. And it's the impulses within us, that direct our minds and our thoughts. And it's real easy for the human mind, for us to become confused. It's real easy in this world, the way the society has been corrupted. It's real easy to normalize being, well, being corrupted. Let me put it like that. The corrupted that I'm discussing, what I mean by that is when we feel all full of negative feelings, depression or hopelessness or shame or guilt or hate or anger. If you're feeling those feelings, and seriously, I am speaking to you, please, we're not here to suffer. We're not here to be punishing each other or ourselves. One of the messages I really received today and I loved from the service, our children deserve mercy. Our children deserve a world that is merciful and loving and compassionate. And what we were born into was not, and what our parents were born into was not. We're here to heal ourselves, heal each other, and guess what? The healing is available for you. It's through you. It's with you. It's found through faith, and it's found through God's grace. Let me tell you that. That was another message I received today. It is by God's grace that all things happen. And this was my explanation of that. Once I started awakening to how wrong I had been with some of my past beliefs, right? The fears and the time I wasted just poisoning myself with toxic thoughts, toxic booze, toxic feelings. When I realized it was by the grace of God that God allowed me to end my own suffering, I had become my own worst enemy. That was one of the messages of the sermon today, too, is that, golly geez, I did a poor job of making notes with the scriptures, but love tells us to do what we don't want to do, right? What love will tell us to do, what the facts and evidence will tell us to do, may go against what's normal within us. It may go against our instincts. Well, it's obvious. It goes against our instincts to be willing to die for another, yet people are willing to sacrifice themselves on a regular basis. Many of our children are introduced into that idea for a paycheck. Let's not forget the military service that corrupts some of us. But I'm not here to complain. I'm here to praise. Praise God, man, sincerely. One of the things I took away from this service too, in the praise, was this song, one of the songs. I tell you what, I have been moved to tears so many times today. And I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, dude, you're such a crybaby. I laughed at myself. But these are some of the things I realized today. If there is no God, right? If I'm wrong, I might be screwed. My life is in a bad spot, and I'm really counting on miracles. But the miracles can come in such simple and such simple and practical ways. So, but if it is possible, and if you believe it is possible that God is real and here and with us, I tell you what, I might be a decent person to pay attention to listen. These things that are coming out of my mouth, I tell you, God has been so good to me. To all of us, I truly believe, but we may not realize things just yet. The day of judgment will be coming soon, and I believe we might be able to choose. Because the day of judgment is this. The truth is God. The truth can judge us. So how do we compare ourselves to that which is true? Are we shameful or are we aligned with it? Did we correct our ways where we denied the truth that we knew? We don't want to be in denial. Even though it may sound contradictory, when you get bad news, when you learn that someone betrayed you, when you learn that something happened that really it's a pain, it's a loss, it's a surprise, right? Your world goes upside down and you feel torn and broken. It may sound illogical, but you do have within you the ability to be grateful for all things. You do have, should you choose it. This is what I've been realizing. God's will, God's support, God's strength, it's there when we seek it. When we seek it, we shall know it. That includes the truth. That includes love. That includes all good things. All good things that might arise from within you, the healthy desires, the loving desires. Those are the ones that we're supposed to pursue. I besides church, I watched another inspiration today. And he was talking about we all have a combined mission. We all have a combined mission while we are here on earth in this beingness of human, because we are a little different than the plants and the animals and the minerals that are around us. We are just a little bit different. We've got this different kind of consciousness, got this different kind of knowing and awareness of what is in this experience with us. So we're all here as spiritual beings. That's the distinction. Maybe, well, we have the consciousness and we can become aware of this fact. We can become aware of, actually, I think the plants and animals, they're already aware of their connection and their beingness. That's right. The rest of nature is blissful in its beingness. It's people, because of the entertainment, because of the world we were born into, people have normalized and enabled, right, through excuses and blame. We've created these echo chambers, and I'm saying we, speaking as an American, in the life that I've lived. Those who might, if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply, but I bet it does. We live in a world that has been corrupted, and the evidence is quite clear. It's in the news every day. Praise God. Because I believe the day of judgment, it's coming. We are here to bring forth the new, to awaken the world to the truth of God's love, to share the praise and bring forth the blessings, the goodness that we can individually, as co-creators in this life. We are here to move each day with faith. Faith in the knowing that you are here for a reason. And so is everything else. There is a perfection and a place for everything that is. If you can accept that, well, it's kind of the battle. The battle within us, the ego, the normal conditioning of our minds wants to reject, wants to say, nope, things aren't perfect. There's always problems, which there might be. But finding and focusing on problems and negativity, filling yourself, right? Spending your time with the spirits. Okay, here's something I've been leaving out. Spirits. Consider spirits as emotions. You will have energies and senses of emotions within you, these impulses and desires, these feelings. It's up to you to understand those. Those feelings don't have to move you unless you let them. That's the thing. Within our flesh is the impulses and the thoughts. When we master ourselves and we move beyond the world, right? We don't let the ego thoughts and impulses control us. We selectively choose. We selectively choose the thoughts, the movements, the desires, the impulses that we allow to move us. And from my practice, it I'm not sure I'm not sure how I sound, to be honest. And I'd welcome people if you have questions, please. I'd like to know how I'm doing. What I've been finding is the practice of surrender allows the peace to grow within us. That's the whole point of the game. The whole point of the idea of faith is to have a confidence and a knowing within yourself that at this present moment, God has you perfectly where and how you are to be. And from this moment on, you get to choose where you go, what you do, how you grow. The focus on growth is why we are here, growing in the wisdom, growing in the love, growing in the experience of life in all abundance that you can bring forth. This is what we get to live the life of our dreams sincerely. If you can allow yourself to dream, if you can allow yourself to move beyond the judgment, the fears, the disappointment, which creates a nightmare. I've lived in that nightmare. I've lived in my own personal hell where I couldn't find things. I was so blinded by the world in my past. I was so blinded by what I had seen and learned and thought of in the world. God allowed me to betray myself. And when I started realizing how wrong I had been, how obvious and simple the way of love truly is. Oh my goodness. My humility has grown. I went through my periods of shame and guilt, resentment because of my past anger, because of my past depression. I went through and processed all those feelings. Oh, that was feelings. Feelings, these emotions, these are the spirits that move us. It's really easy to become attached to dark spirits, to go through your life reactive and wanting to fight to prove yourself right. It's important that you're right. Otherwise, you'd be wrong. And if you're wrong, what? You might punish yourself with some guilt. Kind of ties us around again. I do agree. Our world, our children in our world deserve more mercy. They deserve a more merciful world. And if you look at the scriptures properly, God was not punishing. It was man's free will that chose to destroy the Son of God, the messenger, the Messiah. Now, of course, it all comes down to God's perfection in the storytelling of history and creation. To be a part of this, holy cows, man. So, here, this is, I don't know if I got to that point. Our combined mission here, we're all here to bring the material into a spiritual purpose. If we allow ourselves to get lost and focused in the material world and the physical limits that we imagine, we're kind of missing the game. We're falling away from the love and abundance and prosperity that's truly available, because potential is unseen. Potential has to come through, right? I don't know. Potential is where God brings forth what each of us are. Every day we awaken, every day God allows us to awaken our consciousness, to return to consciousness. Each day that God allows us to return to consciousness, and we might awaken our eyes in the morning. What a gift. That means the day and this world has been created uniquely just for you to experience as you. Same thing for me. So I'm trying to figure out how to connect some of these things. So oftentimes love tells us to do what we may not necessarily want to do. Love is shown through the words of God. God's love was spoken truthfully from what I can know. Jesus was a master teacher, the perfect messenger for us to learn from. What may appear challenging is humbly accepting those words that he spoke as your own. Because consider that God truly does want us to walk in. I wrote that down. I truly believe God wants us to walk in the spirit of perfection, to walk with the spirit of perfection, with the spirit of love, the strength of love, the power of love. That's the spirit of Christ. The comforter is that spirit of knowing. I mean, here, and please consider this idea too. In our lives, we don't get to learn of everything. Okay? In our lives, we don't get to learn of everything. What we get to learn of is unique for each of us. So if you have learned of the story of Jesus, that by God's perfection and love, that this messenger was true, and that by the faith and power of love that God allowed that man to overcome death, well, I invite you to accept it's true. Accept the impossible is true, and you can you can know miracles to become realized. And please, brothers and sisters, thank you for this reminder, Tarek. Brothers and sisters, anyone tuning in here and now, and anyone tuning in the future, regardless of your opinions of the personality, whether you know the man or not, character known as Snafu. And even if you join in prayers later, please just send loving, healing intentions to our friend, our brother Snafu. I learned he was going into surgery right before I was starting, and please join in prayers. I have faith in miracles. Healings happen. And if it's God's grace, if it's God's will, Snafu, our brother, may experience miraculous recovery, healing, transformation. It's all possible. I know that my faith in God is true because what I've chosen to do is to accept the words of Jesus as true. That his prayer was that we would become one with him, one with love. See, and for me, that's what I know. God is the truth. The truth allows us to know love. Jesus is the perfect example of love that is available, dying there mercilessly on the cross, and yet he's awesome. He's asking for forgiveness. He's seeking humbly forgiveness despite the pain the world offered to him. When I was reminded that, the faith he demonstrated, the faith shown by Jesus, that divine faith, that is a gift God has offered for all of us to receive and to know. All good things may be known by those who seek. I trust in that. I do trust in that, particularly when it comes to the truth. If we want to know the answers exist. The truth is eternal. Our problems are temporary. Our questions, well, we get to choose. What I have been learning, brothers and sisters, and I do sincerely, I haven't been paying much attention to chat. Thank you sincerely for all of you tuning in. I do intend on dropping the link and opening it up. I don't know if you can hear it. I got a little kitty crying at the back door too that seems to want in. I told her it'd be a while before she got back in the house, but I do intend to drop the link and we'll open up the panel for those who wish to join the conversations. I did actually extend a couple of invitations, and I pray to God. I look forward to seeing what the future brings. Back to the idea of enemies, right? We don't have to pick enemies. We don't have to be all guarded and put up these walls. And if you check out that sermon I linked in the description, Pastor Michael does an incredible job of presenting these ideas of the walls and such. But we are reconciled to God in Christ. God is the truth. Christ is love. We are reconciled to the truth in love. It's up to each of us to seek and to know. We get to choose. We get to define. We get to accept or resist the love that may be available, the truth that may be available. Every one of us gets, it's like a hide and seek adventure. We're here to put together all of the pieces of our own unique experience, the pieces of your life that you've encountered. There's a greater purpose within you. The goal for each of us is to go within the memory banks and overcome the opinions and the feelings, right? Go within the memory banks with uh, objective, grateful, curious, whatever the right words are for you to want to go within. The idea is, well, we want to know the truth. What is the mission God has placed within you? What are you here for your future? What is within you waiting to come forth? What is the world wanting to get, wanting to receive? Right? Each of us every day, we get to choose what we offer into the world. So many people are worried about their appearances and worried about how everyone else thinks or sees, or the opinions are just information. The feelings, the impulses, these are information. Through the will of God within the temple, right? Within the temple of your being, there is a throne, a chooser, one that gets to rule and determine, where is my attention going to go? what in this experience is going to receive my energy, my attention? Because that was something we talked about too. You are not made to carry unforgiveness. Please consider that obvious truth and allow that to do what it does within you. But realize you were not made to carry unforgiveness. It drains your energy, drains your emotional energy, and every bit of unforgiveness you carry, you're going to have to carry these mental thoughts and all the details, and all that does is just keeps repeating. It's karma, reenacting. You're punishing often. Each of us, we do this. We punish ourselves with such unforgiveness. We lack mercy. See, people I know have come to believe that we have a God who is very punishing, right? Without mercy. And everyone's so fearful, trying to obey rules and ideas that they don't actually really understand. And that's, I think, kind of the glorious creation of life that God is allowing to experience. We're all children. We're all children who are here actually, despite your we are all here to actually become our own guru. We're all here to become our own leader, our own creation. I mean, you follow the teachings and the examples of Jesus, you are a leader. You are a leader amongst men. Because the way men have grown to be, where they make excuses and they offer forth blame instead of a helping hand, brothers and sisters, this world we live in, things are not always as they seem. So if you can detach from your beliefs, if you can detach from your opinions, your memories, and just allow things to be in this moment where you are and I am, in this moment is God's presence. The loving, comforting spirit of Christ is available for you to know as well. You just got to believe that love and peace are available for you. It might require you to offer yourself some mercy, maybe compassion. See, if we don't feel a worthiness, if we feel filled with shame and guilt, which is really easy to do, especially if we're angry and bitter, right? Resentments will bring forth a lot of shame and guilt. We don't realize it. That's why we can move past our blame, find the peace of forgiveness. Oh, that feeling is so freeing. It's like once you realize that you've been punishing yourself with your own stupid opinions, and your opinions aren't stupid. I'm not judging you. I'm judging myself and my own stupid opinions that used to create my own misery and my own suffering. Golly geez, God is so good. By the grace of God, God allowed me to end my own self-destruction. And if you can believe in God, well, you can believe it can happen for you too. I don't think I'm anything special, but I am unique, as are you. And there's a specialness of God that arises within and through each of us. I'm trying to grow in mine. I think my path is taking me towards more gentleness, more kindness. That's what I've really been trying to grow in myself. And so, well, it seems like the right thing to do. These are the other thoughts I had. The joy of the Lord is my strength. So how do you find joy? You do what you enjoy, and you enjoy what you do. And how do you do that? It's pretty obvious once you realize the patterns. You don't choose to do the things that bring you guilt or shame. You know before you know. I mean, you know before you choose. "Well, I know this isn't right, but I have to do this. I have no other choice." Really? All right. Well, that's not something you want to do. So then you're already creating for yourself in the future by doing that choice. You're going against your own will. So why place yourself into that position? If you can find within you the desire, the loving desires to do that which you enjoy, and it's really easy to figure out what you enjoy because your spirit will reward you. You'll feel it. And the best way to grow in feeling joy within you is, well, what do you think God's will is for us all? We're here to serve the world. Oh, who's calling me? Sorry. Can't accept that call right now. But yeah, we're all here to serve the world with the fruits, the love, right? What we get to choose what we offer to the world every moment of our day. And I tell you, the best way to feel alive is to serve the world in the ways that you have a desire and the desire is there. So the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I truly believe, I mean, if you are the father of you, the creator of you, would you not find joy seeing your child serving the other children in creation that you've been born into? Of course. See, and the idea of our Father, people think God's love. We think our Father is absent because we don't cognize it, we don't recognize it, we don't really understand. But picture this: it is we are children of nature and Mother Earth, and we've been growing together in this consciousness. We were given a perfect example, a Messiah, a teacher, a leader of how we are supposed to live, how we can live purely, authentically, faithfully to the truth, willing to die for love, willing to sacrifice yourself for the world to become a greater place, willing to die for peace, for love, for the truth to become known. We all have this opportunity. What we do with each day, it comes from our thoughts that we think. What we do each day comes from the thoughts we think. And what guides our thoughts but our spirit, our emotions, how we are feeling? So here's something to watch for. I was thinking about this, right? The way of Christ is to unite, and it's through the light of consciousness and awareness, being more than just self-centered, but being aware, right? Caring, caring about what is beyond just you, caring about what is beyond just the thoughts, just the opinions, just the feelings. When we care about the world which is around us, well, it grows in our opportunities to serve. And truly, I believe we are here to serve this world at this time. And our God, I truly believe our God does want us to know mercy. We're here to practice mercy, and the mercy starts within yourself. What do I mean by mercy? Mercy in the form of forgiveness, of unifying, right? Mercy in ending the conflicts and the disagreements. It starts within. The conflicts and disagreements come between our thoughts and our feelings. I see a lot of people who say things, but then their behavior contradicts what they're saying. They show themselves to be untrue. So pay attention to yourself. How are you? Do you walk the walk of your words? Or do you just talk the talk and find excuses on why you can't follow through. We're each here to be truthful, right? We're part of God's creation, the living truth started down the road of the Father. I heard this example earlier. If you picture the loving Father here to allow its children to experience life and all that life might bring forth, it's silently there observing. The power and the will of the Father, it's there for us to know. It's within us. We are reflections of the Father of the creation, the Creator. We are the reflections of love until we allow ourselves to be corrupted, until we allow ourselves to become distorted from what is real. And what is real is right now. The eternal presence of God is now. Each of us are only temporary, right? We're only here in God's creation for a short time, and yet, at the same time, we're eternal, spiritual beings created in the loving image of intelligence and wisdom. We are here to accomplish great things. This is what I know for sure. Hey, I've been monologuing. I don't know if I made it through my notes or not, but I am going to go ahead and open up the live stream for those who may wish to join. And sincerely, thank you to all who have joined and may be joining us later, not just on YouTube, but bear with me just a moment here. Also on Rumble, and I'll get to Facebook in just a second. But my hope, sincerely is just to share a beautiful day. I apologize for the amateur hours, but however, come on. There we go. You think it's a miracle Jack hasn't way more hate watchers? Yeah, people do either love me or hate me. I've come to realize that. It seems to me that it's I'm like a symbol. I believe I am a symbol that God is using, to represent different things to different people. And actually, it's probably what we are with each other. All of us are. One thing I've come to help myself realize is the Spirit of God is all around me. The Spirit of God is all within me. It's best to know the Spirit of God. So, what is the Spirit of God? The Spirit of God I know is love. I walk with love. How do I walk with love? How do I know or claim to walk with love? Well, I know love as appreciation. And like I said, I've become kind of a crybaby these days, to be honest. I cry so many times today. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Oh, that was another thing. I met a young lady today. Mackenzie, if you happen to tune in, bless you, you found me. Sat next to me at the service. We were discussing how, the it is the joy of the Lord is my strength. Where is joy found? Joy is shown through appreciation and gratitude. How is those best shown? Laughter, right? I do laugh a lot. And I bet God has an incredible, incredible sense of humor. I'm confident God has an incredible sense of humor because I find humor all around. I find the truth to be actually pretty funny as well. I've found a great relationship with myself and truth. That's why I encourage you, please discover your relationship with the truth that you know. Improve that relationship. Discover the patterns of your life. What are you here for? You really get to define it for yourself. So if you don't know, if you have confusion within yourself, that's right. I mentioned I hope to speak to those who might be feeling some darkness. And if you know someone who's feeling depressed or bitterness, at least share this and let them see if this might help. When we show ourselves mercy, we can allow ourselves to forgive others and ourselves. And the way to do that is to recognize the mercy is available by God's grace. Through God's grace, the idea can come forth, and maybe these conversations might be the reminder you need, right? Because I am trying to be, it's my hope and my prayers that I become an adequate, a more competent, because I already know what I am. I pray to become a more competent messenger for the truth of God's love so that you might understand, that we might all understand, that we can all live in peace, walking with gratitude and appreciation through the moments of our day, recognizing the opportunities to love, the opportunities to share love, to know love, to grow love. It's through our relationships, right? Relationships are why we are here. So if you are here on earth for the purposes of experiencing life, and you don't have a good relationship with time itself, if you don't have a good relationship with the present moment, really ask yourself why. I mean, because each moment of each day within us, we can live with fear and anxiety and, filled with contempt and all this sinful, unpleasant darkness. We can choose that way. And doing so, it puts our mind, sends all these chemicals into our bodies, right? The adrenaline and stuff, so that we're all prepared, fight or flight all day long, ready to react. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. That's why I know we were not made to carry unforgiveness. We're here to celebrate. We're here to appreciate, because that's what love is about. Celebrating, appreciating. That's really what God is offering us each day, the opportunity to grow. And I practice this myself. This is one of my practices. I thank God. I think by the grace of God, God allowed me to learn of the teacher, the Messiah named Jesus, who lived long before I was born. By my own foolishness, I didn't turn that way until I was, an old man, after I'd misled my son. But by God's grace, I was allowed to learn of the stories, the teachings of love shown through the records of the Bible, shown through the teachings of Jesus and many, many others. See, God's wisdom is abundant. God's goodness is abundant. If you don't see it, turn to God, the God within you, and ask yourself, why? Where am I blind? Where have I blinded myself? How did I lead myself away from God's goodness? How did that happen? And if you look at your life as a game to be explored, you are the main character of your life. And with the power of God within you, what can stop you? Nothing. The power of God grows with you as you grow in your relationship with you. because you've got to have comfort and peace within you. If you can allow yourself to be the main character of your life, but the game, the purpose of this life is to serve the world around you in loving and righteous ways, healing ways, that's another thing. Why not allow yourself to believe that, okay, God, I renew myself today. Please, God, I wish to die of my old ways, my corruption. I wish to change. And please, I invite in the spirit of love to guide me to the truth of the Father that God wants me to know. And if you can invite in that spirit of truth, seeking humbly, honestly, authentically, allowing yourself to process the emotions that maybe you've been denying, maybe that's where your corruption has been. Here's what back to what I was getting at earlier, the laughter of life, being able to laugh. Sometimes we need to cry. Sometimes we need to yell at God. Do it. Communicate. Communicate with God as though God understands you better than you, because it does. You do. Communicate with God as though it is an absolute closest, most loving relationship you could ever know. Allow yourself to be real and true, because sometimes those tears we shed, sometimes those, that rah, sometimes that is just what we need to learn how to laugh at ourselves again. To stop taking the small things seriously, to recognize the important things are yet to come. Right? The future is where life is. God is in the future. Know that. I look forward to the future that we might all receive, because honestly, I do trust that this time, here and now, that we're sharing, brothers and sisters, if there's no God, my first thought was, if there's no God, then I'm fucked. Right? The situation I've got, it just doesn't make sense. But if there's no God, it doesn't change the reality I am experiencing. So I don't care. I trust. I trust there's a God that's taught, spoken about through many. I've humbled myself to the power, the perfection of God. Can you? Can you humble yourself to the power and the perfection of God that is within you, around you, and through you? Can you invite in the perfection of Christ? Can you allow yourself to walk in the perfection with Christ? To walk with Christ in perfection. What is perfect? What is perfection? Well, perfection is purity, without corruption, without distortion. So corruption would be true. Can you walk in the truth? What else is pure? What else is divine? Well, obviously, love. Can you walk in love with the truth of this moment from now on? I bet you can, especially if you invite in help of the powers that are greater than you. The powers, the spirits, the energies of consciousness, the angels, the ancestors. The goal is to know the answers. See, the answers are found in the truth. If it's not the truth, it's not the answers you want. God is the truth. So, and there is an absolute truth that is, and it's beyond our limited comprehension, yet it's an adventure to get to know. Because in my own life, oh my goodness. Tell you what, if I am right, if I am right, It's a blessing. Thank you for allowing our paths to cross, and thank you for sharing your attention. I hope you receive the words that are helpful for you. Because I want you to believe that with God, all things are real. Without God, no thing is real. But what is real to you? Is love real to you? Do you know love? Or do you just think about love? Do you have conditions on love? See, God's love, I believe, is without condition. God serves forth all of creation, for all of creation. And all that is here for a purpose. This is what I have come to know for myself, and that means you are a purpose. There is a purpose for your being here and now. What do you believe your future is for? What do you want in your future? How much time do you spend growing into the future that you want to realize? The future I want to realize, brothers and sisters, as I've commonly said, and you know what? To those who have recently joined, subscribed, if you're newly tuning in, blessings and thank you for doing so. But my dream for the future is a world where God's truth is known. The truth of God's love is known abundantly, where God's truth, right? The information that is relevant and applicable and right and correct and accurate. These in the future, I see the truth being lovingly shared, where we're not focused on our fears, on our lacks, on our limitations, on our excuses or blame, where we're not focused on those things that are not helpful, where we're actually focused on helping bring correction to this world, helping to bring healing forth. The best way to heal is through the choice to know peace. In these lives, in these bodies that we live, I mentioned that, based on your thoughts, you can feel yourself full of adrenaline and all these chemicals that keep you feeling discomfort. And, science shows the adrenaline stuff prepares us, places us in a flight or flight, fight or flight energy. Now, our bodies are actually designed to be, well, to be digesting and cleansing, right? That's what our bodies are here to do. Now, the body doesn't digest and cleanse itself real well when it's constantly agitated. So that goes not only for your physical body, and remember, there's a lot of toxins in this world. If you're not paying attention to the food you're consuming, if you're not paying attention to the things you're drinking, then look in the skies. There's toxins in everything, in our water, our food, our air. We've polluted the hell out of this Garden of Eden. Mankind has been so destructive, have we not? Throughout the world right now, we got war drums beating, got poverty growing, famine. Unbelievable technologies and reports are being shared. It's like unbelievable. What an incredible time to live, brothers and sisters. We are so blessed to be alive right now. You can accept that belief, or you can believe it's a nightmare and that things are going to get worse, and pain and evil are going to continue growing. But I am of the faith that the light is going to overpower. The light is going to come through. Matter of fact, I know in my beingness, the light has already overcome the darkness in this world. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of human beings alive who are just lost in habits of the past, memories of the past. They're so attached to the way things were. They don't realize the opportunities that are today. Right? Today each day we have the opportunity to create a new way for ourselves, to help lead each other forward, to help each other grow. I tell you, my faith, my path where I am today is I call myself, you get to decide what you think I am. I call myself a disciple of Jesus, follower of Christ. My efforts are to share the praise, to share the truth of God's love, to point you to the way of love that Jesus taught and showed. But not just Jesus, but the Buddhas and actually the eternal truth that is. Everything is energy, everything is mental, everything is emotional. Okay, the spirits of emotions are what move us. But the mental power we have, it can be the will of God or it can be the will of you. You have the power to be selfish. You have the power to be humble. And I tell you what Jesus showed was the natural way of God's love that I believe we are here to share. Imagine a world that everyone shared love, where the healing power of love and faith was shown throughout many instead of just the one. Because I trust that is the way that, as he said, and he spoke the truth, greater things than these shall you do. So why not? What can you do? I mean, he left some big shoes to follow. I realize that. That's kind of intimidating. But here's what I realized. People have been afraid to follow the way of the Christ, to be honest and loving and forgiving and merciful and generous and self-sacrificing. Good men and women have allowed the fear of suffering to cause them to choose inaction. Brothers and sisters, if we want this world to change, it's time for us as good men and women, which we are. It's time for us to overcome our choices of inaction. Inaction does not solve problems. Inaction enables the corruption. And brothers and sisters, let's objectively, honestly look at what God has shown you of what you might know of the world. I allege the corruption is so visible, it's undeniable. The corruption of the economic system, of the military industrial complex, of the pharmaceutical lobbyists and influences, and all of these things, I allege the darkness and corruption are undeniable anymore. So if we are good men and women, what do we do? I believe the time is, I believe we get to choose. Now, I don't know where God allows us power, where God has absolute. I know God has absolute, but it's given us this free will. That is an incredible power. What an incredible responsibility. You don't want to give your free will away. And when you say, I have to, I don't have a choice, that's a choice you can choose to believe in, or you can believe that with God all things are possible and there are answers that I might not yet know. That's a simple path of skepticism, right? To open your mind to the fact that there might be things that you don't yet know. That's the humble mind of a child. If you can admit that there are things that you might not yet know, which is honest. I mean, unless you're that foolish where you think that now I know it all. I can think of everything on my own. Oh, really? Hmm. I allege all thoughts, all impulses, all feelings, all moments, all everything is simply received. We don't create the experience as much as we experience what we co-create. And we're co-creating this experience, right, through the outer world, which I view the outer world as the essence of God. You are the essence of God. The Spirit of Christ is you, from my view. See, I've chosen to take away my corruption, to surrender my negative and insulting opinions. Those are gone. I see the purity of you. I see the spiritual essence of you. I know that even my worst enemies, even the people who have hurt me the most, I know their choices are made based on the level of consciousness that God has allowed them. See, every one of us has these veils of ignorance, these patterns of confusion, karmically, whatever, spiritually, we're here to overcome our own patterns. And this is what I know. I know this for sure. And to overcome the patterns, it simply requires the will to overcome. And then the self-control to govern ourselves, to limit ourselves in the time we allow our energy and focus to be on things we don't want. And with that, hey, we've got our first guest, and I think I dropped the link in Rumble, Facebook, and it's pinned to the top of the chat in the LinkedIn or in YouTube. Welcome, Chandler. How are you today, my brother?
I'm doing all right.
We're getting an echo, it seems. Let me see what I can do here.
I think I might be.
I don't know if you're there. The echo, it seems, gone. If you're still there, you may have froze as well. I think that might be what happened. You might have frozen there. So, streaming in 45 minutes. Blessings, Venus. Are you? Hey, if you're still here and you care to share, you are welcome to do so. This, as far as I'm concerned, is a community. And today the goal, Chandler, I'm going to go ahead and remove you it appears you're frozen. You're welcome to disconnect, reconnect as you wish, or as God allows. Praise God. Oh, right. These other notes I took from the sermon earlier. And again, I encourage you, if you find time, willingness, check out the link in the description. You are reconciled to God in Christ, to the truth in Christ, right? Through Christ, we are reconciled. Through the love, we are reconciled to the truth. And then you are reconciled to enemies in Christ. Through Christ, we can overcome our disagreements, our conflicts. Here, welcome back, Chandler. Getting that.
Hey, sorry about that.
Still got an echo going. Hopefully, I changed something, so maybe that took care of it. Welcome back, brother. We've got another guest here, DeFreak. Welcome, DeFreak.
Hey, Jack. Nice to talk to you.
You as well. Thank you. I was wondering, have we crossed paths yet?
I don't think so. Just probably in chat.
Okay. I thought I had seen you there, so I trusted that you were safe to bring up. Welcome. Thank you for joining. How you doing? What are your
I'm
thoughts?
doing fine. I'm doing fine. Thanks. I'll defer to Chandler, but I'd like to share two scriptures to try and piggyback off of a couple things that you mentioned.
Would you please? Well,
Chandler?
What was that?
he was
If
deferring to you, offering you an opportunity to speak, but sounds like he's got.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually post them in chat.
Please do. Thank you. I appreciate it. The there was a couple references. I meant to pull these up, and I didn't prepare as well as I could. In the services earlier, they brought up Romans 5:10 and Ephesians 2:1-10, and it was regarding how we were, by following the flesh, following our corruptions, we are actually enemies of God, but we were reconciled through Christ, through the love, the perfection, the choices, sacrifices made through Jesus, shown through that. Well, we're no longer enemies. Through the power of love, through the power of Christ, we have the capacity and the ability to know the truth of God. The truth of God is when you start to see it, when you start to see the things that you had been ignoring, the things that you had been ignorant of that were right in front of your face, when you start to see that, it's humbling. Our God is so good, so divine, so imaginative, so creative. Our God is so good, and the goodness is abundant. And the goodness is shown through love, and love is the reward we get to feel in life when we follow the way of love, the way of authentic, generous, truthful sacrifice. Hey, please, Chandler or DeFreak, please, I'm going to step away and allow my cat back in. If you have thoughts, jump in, please. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Sure.
You wanna read your scripture?
Yeah, I'll go ahead because I'm going to actually go to Jack in the Box right after. One of the things he was talking about was kind of the development of how God develops us. And these two scriptures that I posted are kind of reflections of that. The whole chapter of Isaiah 28 is kind of a spiritual development, but basically it's explaining how, we came from a sperm drop into a glop of flesh, into, adolescence, into adulthood, and how we learn and grow over time. And that's all part of his plan and what he's doing with us in terms of, one of the reasons why we're here. And also in Isaiah 28 there, in that part, it's talking about farming, but really what it is talking about developing, say, a piece of land for cultivation of, growing crops and stuff. But it's the same thing with us. It's a process that happens over time. And so the reason why I brought this up is because if there is anyone out there that's, say, struggling or having a hard time or not understanding or whatever, just try and understand that. And hopefully that just brings a little peace and a little understanding to somebody. And I just wanted to pass that along. So,
Right.
go
Are
ahead.
you familiar with relevance realization by John Vervaeke?
Can't say that I've heard that one before.
It's very similar to what you're saying, and it's pretty much saying that our psyche is mimicking evolution, so that what is more salient to us, what jumps at our attention, is going to be most relevant to us. So we realize what is relevant to our survival, our development, at a spiritual or physical, but because there's like infinite amounts of truth in the universe, we could go on forever about what is true. Our brains are constantly figuring out relevant facts, and it's cycling between a detailed view and a abstract view in order to because if you're constantly looking at the details, then you're going to miss the more abstract view from a like a longer plan, I guess. I believe it's like deals with either the left side of the brain or the right side of the brain. I'm not sure which one's which. I'd have to look more into that. But our brains are doing the exact thing that you're talking about on a day-to-day basis, figuring out what is relevant to us. This is why you have realizations. This is why the Holy Spirit is so strong. Once you catch that super salient, the super relevant to you, then you fall in love with it. You can't ignore it.
Wow, he made a whole book out of that, huh?
Well, he's a lot better at explaining it than I am.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that in any degrading way. I'm just saying it's pretty interesting. Another thing too, I was going to say is that if we have faith in God, or especially if you're in Jesus Christ, you know that this is the lowest level of existence that you're ever going to have to endure involuntarily, and that brings comfort. And with that comfort, that starts to really bring kind of the joy of the Lord into your life. So hopefully there's a little comfort in some of that little wisdom, even though some people think religion is slavery. Well, then wisdom is slavery.
Well,
So
all things, we can become enslaved to all things through our opinions and the importance, the relevance, the attachment we place to things. Religion can be slavery if we follow traditions of men rather than the spirit of love and the spirit of the truth, which is contained within the religions. I love what you brought forth, Good Freak. Thank you. Those were great references. And actually, Chandler, if I understood what you were saying, I agreed with that as well. I started paying very close attention to my mind, including what it was experiencing, observing, whatever, noticing what I was noticing. And then I give the credit to beyond myself. I credit the angels, the spirits, there's a greater force that guides my awareness. Why do I notice this? I think there is a true divine purpose to the unfolding through our consciousness. It's an amazing gift God has given us. Did I reflect back accurately with you guys? But I don't know.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bow out though, because I definitely need to get some food, but I'll be listening on my phone. So thanks, Jack. Great show.
Thank you, DeFree. Blessing to
Thank
you.
you.
Do you have a channel? Should I share?
No, I'm just a consumer on YouTube.
Blessings. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Verju, that is an opinion that I used to consider. However, if you realize that spirituality, spirit, essence is everything, there is a spirituality within the religion. It's to be found.
And the problem with that is you can't talk about spirituality without going into a religious context anyways. Because they created our language. So you don't really have a choice in that, But I did kind of want to talk about what you were saying, where we make things meaningful and stuff. I think we kind of got into it a little bit last time.
Please.
But it goes a little bit with the order and chaos. So there's a realm of potentiality in which order emerges. So a bunch of potential patterns that could be so, but I guess you could relate it to the Big Bang, kind of infinite multiplicity potential, and then it orders itself. Whether God caused it, of course, to us, some people just science. But you could think of it as a book as well. If you read a book, the book offers you a realm of potential interpretations. Okay, the multitude of potential interpretations that the book offers, but you impose an order on that book. So the book that emerges is a consequence of the interpreter and the realm of potential. Now, the realm of potential is going to be limited to what the author says. So if it's about, I don't know, poetry or something, then you're not really going to get too far off from the potential. There's going to be a certain amount of potential interpretations that you're limited to, depending on the subject matter. But your mind is going to interpret a meaning from that book, whether or not the author intended that or not. So I would say it's the same with reality. God still has a meaning set in stone, an objective meaning to reality. And then we impose a subjective meaning onto certain events, stuff like that. You know?
Absolutely.
And I think that the complexity of the event or the shapes and objects within that potentiality, the complexity of it is dependent on the resolution of your analysis. So if you are not very mindful of the events or the objects within it, then it's not going to be as complex, and you're not going to be able to draw from a deeper meaning to that. You know, you're the way you conceptualize things is going to be limited by your vocabulary, for one, the way that you understand the world. Pretty much just another way of saying that, right?
Yep. Agreed. It's within our minds, that's truly the heavenly realm that from which our being comes forth in our experience. The mind is where it's at. And within this experience of duality, we can have clarity or confusion. And really, it's that simple. And what you were talking about is if we don't have I put in the word clarity. You described it as something else. But if we lack clarity, then we're going to have distorted views, and everything that we experience is brought through our awareness. It's easy to lose sight of the opportunity to expand our awareness when we're attached to old beliefs, old meanings that we assigned to things. And this is where the practice of being present, recognizing I am now, and there's a purpose for now. And what is my purpose for now? What am I doing? What am I being? What am I sharing? Thank you for joining, Chandler, sharing some information and wisdom. This is church. Church is the expansion of wisdom and love and fellowship. This is what I define as church. So expanding our relationship with knowledge, allowing ourselves to grow with different perspectives and different explanations, maybe of similar or different things, same things. That's what life is about. And that's what church is. And we can celebrate knowledge and love at every opportunity.
Right. I don't know if we've spoken about Plato's cave. We might have in a private conversation, but I don't think we did on the last live stream. But it kind of reminds me of what we're talking about regarding the resolution of the analysis, the people who aren't mindful of their reality. Oh yeah, I do need a haircut. You're right. But so Plato's cave, there are a few people in a cave chained, and they're staring at a wall, and shapes and shadows are cast onto the wall from the outside mouth of the cave. So the only thing they see is this wall and shadows being cast from the outside. So an outside reality is responsible for their reality. They don't know this because they're trapped in their finite view of it. One of them breaks free, and he starts going out the mouth of the cave, and he sees the light. And he sees the light, and he has to turn around into the darkness ever so often to adjust his eyes to this light. And you see this in a famous narrative structure called the conquering hero. So you have to go into the underworld to save the princess, you know. So he continuously goes back in the darkness and comes back to the light. And once his eyes get settled, he sees the sun for the first time. And he sees the true reality. And he goes down into the cave and he tells him, look, you've been living in this false imposition of reality. And everything on the outside is responsible for what's going on the inside. Your reality here is only a reference of what is above you or outside of the cave. And there is something out there that's responsible for your reality and what you see. Forms. And they say, you know, you're crazy. You're a madman. But the moral of the story is that it's kind of like the Matrix movie as well. The Matrix follows this same narrative structure where someone breaks free of a false imposition of society and then sees wisdom and light and God and then tries to teach the others and then fails ultimately. But yeah, in the Matrix, you see it obviously. At one point, there's a scene where they're in a plane and they're flying up and they break through the clouds. And then Neo, oddly enough, Neoplatonism, but Neo means to make new. So they break through this cave. Neo is the chosen one, so he has seen the sun. But they break through these clouds, and the people on the plane are like, "What's that?" And then Neo says, "You know, that's the sun. That's the source of wisdom and light, the source of our reality, the true reality." But of course, the source or the sun is an analogy, you know, in both of these stories. But there's just a lot of people chained up in the cave, and we gotta expand awareness, you know, for sure.
Hey, speaking of, I've got a gentleman in the back who has shown me that he has a lot of faith in the ways of the world, at least in the past. So, welcome to the panel, McNemesis.
What does that mean, Jack?
Oh, you came up to ask the question of why you were blocked from chat. You made a rude
Yes.
comment. You made a comment I found to be rude, which was
Okay,
oh,
I understand that, but do you
okay.
always process? Is this the way that you process information? How you feel about it?
What are you referring to? I answered your question. You typed in all bullshit, so I timed you out for a total of 60 seconds. Now you allegedly clicked the link and have been sitting in the pack to ask a question. So
You know. Have you ever watched any of Mark Pastio's videos?
you've asked me that before. I've answered you before. Do you not
Well, you
remember?
said you did, but do you remember the part to where he said, "Don't be offended. Listen to what is true. Don't listen don't get your emotions involved in understanding what's true."
What is your yes? I don't understand your relevance. Those are words that
All
you should
right,
perhaps apply to yourself.
that's what I'm trying to get through to you.
Why? Yeah, see, here's your confusion, brother. I don't need your correction. You're projecting your ignorance onto me. I've tried showing you that politely multiple times, McNemesis. You're when you correct yourself, my friend, my brother in Christ, when you humble yourself to the truth of what God has shown to you, and you allow yourself to escape your own denial. I'm talking to you, McNemesis, and others who it might apply to. You'll allow yourself to be free, free of your own confusion. And confusion, I'm telling you, is bringing you your discontent. Your disbelief comes through your confusion. If you simply accept the truth, life becomes peaceful. And peace. Here's the topic of the stream today: realizing the simplicity of peace. The simplicity of peace is found within us at each moment, not to distract from what Chandler was offering. Chandler was offering some truthful observations, the story of Plato. where people project their power and influence outside of themselves. They don't see that the real meanings, the real definition, it's much more than things might appear if we allow ourselves a different perspective. I am here, brothers and sisters. My purpose here on earth each day. I'm not wearing my Veterans for Peace sweatshirt today, but I'm a man of peace. I'm doing my own way, clumsily, following the way of Jesus that I know, right? Offering praise of God, praise of love, praise of the truth, praise of life. And I'm offering, well, you get to receive what you receive. I know what I'm offering. And I'm offering, well, I don't know. Thoughts, Chandler? On McNemesis or otherwise, whatever. What do you think?
No, probably not. I don't know enough about him or the situation to form an opinion, but I think peace stems from stillness mainly. You know, I lived a life of a lot of anxiety, and it ruined me for sure until I found God. And whenever I did, that's when you start really focusing on what's relevant, and then you realize that this world is referring to a much deeper world outside of it. You know, you start getting synchronicities and realizations about the world. But yeah, if you can't be still, then I don't think there's any hope for peace. You know, if you are shaking your leg or biting your lips or biting your nails at every stop, every ad, every red light, the failure to be oneself is the greatest sin. You know, someone, I can't remember who said it. I think it was St. Thomas Aquinas. I think he said it was something like boredom is the root of all evil, the failure to be oneself. You know, the fact that you always need to be fidgeting and doing other things instead of sitting with your being. You know, yeah.
The signs of our discontent, they're obvious if we just simply notice ourselves.
Mm.
If we start noticing ourselves, what feelings, what spirits, what energies are within us at each moment, if we notice with awareness, if we use the gift of awareness, recognize God's loving presence is here, and we can unite our own consciousness with God's loving presence that is here. I truly, from my own practice, meditation, right? Purposeful, intentional time each day, consciously with the intention, allowing peace to be known in your body. That's what meditation is for. Allowing yourself to detach from the world. That's what Jesus teaches, right? We're not to be of the world, we're to be above the world, to move into the spirit of life. To know God is to be one with the spirit. God's essence is, it's known by us, through us, with the truth, with love, with light. And we are, we're formed of the soil. The salts and minerals of this earth create the composition of us, the water, the magic of water that Mother Earth brings forth. I think there's a connection with that, water, what are the benefits of water? It brings forth cleansing, renewal, refreshing. Water is life for us here as people. Water has memories. I believe there's a connection to us, the water and memory. There's something there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, you're right. There's actually there's a practice. I can't remember the name of it. I believe it's semantics, something like that. Cymatics is what it's called. Cymatics, which
Yep.
is the vibration of liquids to form patterns, stuff like that. The use of vibration, specific frequencies will repeat a pattern. And it's already known that the moon cycle, stuff like that, affects the body, the water within the body. You know, so I would assume that vibrations are affecting the water in our body, uh, probably at all times, whether we know it or not. You know, of course, this doesn't mean that you're not in control of yourself and you can't chalk it up like most people do with astrology, where they're like, "Oh, Saturn is in this place in the sky, I can't control it." You know.
Right. Right.
Use it to get rid of accountability. Oh, I'm a Gemini. It doesn't matter. You know.
I love that you brought that up because I've been considering this idea. What we learn becomes a moral choice. When we learn new information, particularly if it's true, what do we do with it? Do we use it as an excuse? Or do we use it to empower us to overcome, to, be, well, to be able to grow beyond the discomfort, beyond the challenges, beyond the pain that this experience might bring? I mean, that's what we're here for. We're not here to live limited lives. We are not here to be slaves to debts. We are not here to be slaves to taxes. We're not here to be slaves to opinions. We're not here to be slaves to credit scores or contracts or past oaths. We are here to live, to thrive, to know and grow love. It's really that simple.
Could be. And I think my version of God is a lot more active. I think he interacts with his creation. He comes to know more of himself through his creation. And the reason this is because if God is love, then he has to create something other than himself to love. You know, and you can't force it or it's not love. So you have to give it free will, you know. And if it's entirely predictable, if you already have the path set up, then it's much harder to love, I would think.
I missed that last part. If you don't have the path, okay, if you don't have the path,
I think something that is entirely predictable and under your control is much harder to love than something that is sporadic and can surprise you.
Yes, consistency, familiarity is easier to love than something sporadic and spontaneous. Yet, that's really what love is. Here, I wanted to
well,
my own opinion. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to respond to the why is God a he. Me personally, I'm just using he because lack of thinking of it while I do it. I prefer it, I guess. I don't think God has a gender. In the Bible, it says God is invariable, meaning he has no polarity. He is one thing. He does not vary. And that means he wouldn't be good or bad or man or woman, but that could also be our imposition of our duality that we're imposing on him, and again, I use him not on purpose, but I prefer things such as like source because I believe in emanation. I don't believe in creation. So I don't think that God stood outside and created his painting outside of it like we do whenever we create something. We gather materials and put it together. I think we flowed forth from it or him. And this is Kabbalah. This is what the mystic Jews believe. They believe that we came from something called Ein Sof, which Ein Sof just means limitless light. So God doesn't have a gender, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion too. It's just, I think they did that because God is order. So God orders things, and generally potentiality is given feminine qualities. So chaos is usually given feminine qualities because it's potential. You know, you see a pregnant mother and you see potential, you know. And it's not that women are bad or that they represent the black or the evil or stuff like that. It's the interplay between receiving and giving. So uh, the moon only has its light because the sun gives it to it. You know, it is receiving in the most sense. And biologically, we're meant for that same reason, giving and receiving. And you see this in another form of duality, heat and cold. There is no such thing as cold. Cold only absorbs the heat. So
Hey, Chandler,
receive the heat, you know.
you mind if I
Yeah,
answer this question?
the why's got a he? Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of taking us off on other stuff here, and you know, I'd like to
Right.
offer
So I'm just explaining the instances of gender and
from your
why God
perspective.
is usually seen as
You're
gender.
offering your perspective that you've learned of gender. I understand that. I appreciate that. The question I was hoping for is I was hoping to have an opportunity to speak on this myself. I understand what you're doing. I interrupted you though, so I might address this, my own perspective. The reason I use God as a he, honestly, is to conform with many people's beliefs because people are so picky and selective over what words they accept and don't accept. I know that the words of Jesus spoke of God as the Father. Now, I worship, similar to what Chandler was saying, is the divine essence of perfection. And the divine essence of perfection includes the totality of both the masculine and the feminine. And I realize it and I see it in the physical form with the energetic sun, our star. Our star brings forth the light and the warmth, as metaphorically, or allegorically, whatever the right way is, Jesus did too, right? The sun and the warmth of the Father, the intelligence, the light brings forth the intelligence. The light of our awareness is the consciousness of God. It's a gift for mankind. Love is the supreme order. And love, let me get back to the Father. I believe Jesus spoke of the Father because of the time that he lived and where he was born. It was a masculine dominated patriarchal society. So he brought forth the language that was appropriate for that time and place. And it's all appropriate for us as well. Personally, though, I do not reject, I actually embrace the divine mother, Mother Earth, the energies of bliss, of abundance and giving, right? It's all available, shown to us through nature. Mother Nature is real. She provides forth the opportunity of life to exist here with Mother Earth, this atmosphere, the perfection of the arrangements, the alignment of the sun and the moon and the stars and the earth. It all brings us forth in a perfect order. The Father, Mother, if you just focus on the perfection, the absolute perfection that God is, that's what we need to know. I think that's the important part. Thank you, Chandler.
Right. And the sun too, because there's this notion of the axiom of Maria in alchemy, which is the two create a third, which is a union of the two. So you get the Trinity. You see this in biology. The mother and father, a little bit of both create the three. The third is the union of the two that it comes from. So 1, 2, and then the third is the whole of both of them.
I heard a beautiful presentation by Shunya Murti recently from Sat Yoga Institute. He offered the perception that the one becomes three in some of the esoteric traditions. The one breaks out the two into truth and beauty. And truth and beauty, they are perfect in their own, but they come from the one. And that's similar to maybe the masculine feminine coming out of the one.
Mm.
There's a lot of beautiful esoteric ways of observing life and the creative forces that bring us into today, the here and now. Oh, here, actually, Chandler, you're a man of wisdom. I'm gonna find this link and I'll see if I can find that real quick.
Um,
The 1 into the 3 I saw.
yeah, the axiom of Maria is the name of that concept.
Okay.
And it's usually in alchemy, which is based in Hermeticism, Gnosticism, just mysticism in general, really. Uh, yeah. But I think it's funny that you mentioned that he said that the two that comes out of the one is the true and the beautiful, because the Platonists believe the true, the good, and the beautiful is the Trinity. That is what makes up the one, the true, good, and beautiful. Which I'm not sure which one would be Christ, Father, and Spirit, but I would assume that beauty would be feminine, and maybe truth, the Son, good, the Father, probably. But yeah, Neoplatonism, it connects with a lot of different mysticism sects: Kabbalah, Sufism, Taoism, Gnosticism from Christianity.
Here, I dropped the link in the chat. This is the one I was referring to. The white-haired gentleman there is Shunyamurti, and the channel is the Sat Yoga Institute. This is where I'm clumsily explaining what he was offering about the truth and the beauty, but I think it's just what you were saying as well, Chandler, is that the overall goodness, and I think the term he used was Shiva, that the Shiva
Right.
is the ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't grown confident enough in the different vocabulary to use some of these words more often, but the concepts are what I'm trying to get across. And,
Right. Shiva, he's interesting. He is he does a dance of creation and destruction. So he is not just good or bad. He is invariable. So Shiva makes a lot of sense. I think it'd be Shiva, Krishna, and I don't know the third one. The Hindus actually have a inverted version of Christianity as well. So they have a trinity up top that are good, then they have a lower trinity that represent the bad or the evil, and then the totality of all of them, I think, is the the totality of all of them is Brahma, which is the main god, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I think that sounds, yes, it sounds familiar and accurate. And again, I'm growing in some of the other terminology, but what I've come to know and humble myself to is the fact that we can know God as now. Now is the only moment that is. It will always be now in the present. And God and the Spirit, the love of Christ, is eternally present. When we allow our minds to drift away from the present, right? Our consciousness, when we start denying the present in the past, we create confusion in our own self and we lack clarity on what the future is going to bring. Brothers and sisters, we're here to heal. All of us, we are all here to overcome our past trauma together, on our own and together. And it's available through the grace of God. If you can trust that God's grace is available to you, for you to know, well, the signs are obvious. The fact that you exist in the way that you are, that you have made it through the past challenges and the past experiences that you have, There's a grace. The evidence is you. By God's grace, you get to be you, despite the mistakes, despite the ignorance, despite the fear, despite the opinions. By the grace of God, we get to be in the present.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I try to stay in the present. Actually, you know what? I just realized we hit the 2-hour mark. I'm feeling actually complete and whole. Chandler, you showed up with notes and we had discussed some ideas. Today I was filled with my own agenda, but
Right.
you have thoughts you want to offer?
Well, these notes, it's the whole book, so it's not like it wasn't specific for a said conversation, but
Beautiful.
maybe. Are you? I'm curious what you think of reincarnation.
I'm confident that life is eternal and it comes forth in many variations and many different ways. And I believe that all things are possible. I think there's enough evidence of people testimony and confirmation that reincarnation is. It's a part of our development. I believe life is eternal.
Right.
We are.
Well, I had an experience regarding being and being in the present and the now. Now, it was at one point I had deja vu so bad that it brought me bliss and joy to know that I was here again. You know, to know that I had this gift of being now. You know, and I cried tears of joy, and that was one of my favorite experiences ever. You know, to know that I'm here again, and it was, oddly enough, it was again like I felt like I've been through this, and that maybe not particularly as, you know, Chandler, the identity you see is now, but that I have been here, and that my goal is to help people complete the process of individualization, as Jung said, or to become whole. I think there's a certain amount of work that it takes to get to heaven. I'm not. I think faith is the start of it. So I think faith does get you to heaven, but I don't think that faith alone can. Which is a conversation probably for another time, because that was a very lengthy one, and that's been debated for ages. You know.
Let's discuss it a little bit here, if you're willing.
All right.
There was encouragement to keep this going, and heaven is something I've considered quite a bit.
Awesome.
I've sought the ideas of that, because not only in the Bible, but in the Emerald Tablets, and who knows, before it says the kingdom of heaven is within. It is.
Right.
Okay, the kingdom of heaven is the present, and we are the connection between the heaven and the earth, between the flesh and the spirit. And the spirit is in the heavenly realm. The spirit is the being. Well, let me not confuse it. So what would heaven be? Heaven would be in the glorious presence, the knowing. There's no denying you are in the presence of God when you are in heaven. Well, stop denying God's presence, and you can accept that the essence of heaven would be blissful, it would be delightful, it would be perfection in form. Can you accept that this moment can be and is blissful and delightful and perfection in form, just becoming realized through you? And when we can settle into that idea that I am a child of God here in God's kingdom, and God is with me, who can hurt you? Nobody.
Right.
Who knows? I don't know. That's how I choose to live, is with that belief that I have become humbled and refined enough that God may accept me. And I invite the consciousness, the love of Christ to join me each day in celebration of my day, in praise of the Father, Mother God that brings forth the abundance of bliss and joy that's here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I do want to relate something to it called from Dante's Inferno. I'm not sure if you've looked into that or how deeply you have, but I haven't read it myself, but I know a little bit of the concepts. But there's a quote that the fire of hell is the love of God. That Satan in hell is depicted as a four-winged being, and hell is frozen. It is freezing cold. And Satan is chained down, and he's constantly trying to fly up to God, but his wings are only making it colder, you know. So his love for God is what keeps hell punishing. It's the fact that he can't get to God, the fact that hell is the absence of God, the absence of good. It is truth noticed too late, you know.
Truth noticed too late. That is when we sin. That's when we err. We miss our mark.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I love that. And here, truth noticed too late. That would be the sin. And I've heard it said in the Course of Miracles. I don't remember the exact words, but it offers that a sin is simply a mistake to be corrected. We are to repent from our sin. We have the opportunity, as long as life comes forth, we have the opportunity to turn away, to repent from our sins, and to bring forth contritions what'd you say? When we notice the truth too late? Something like
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
actually that's not from me. That's from a philosopher. I don't know his name, but that's not mine. But it's a really good quote. That hell is truth noticed too late. I believe that is actually like Aristotle or something. Some like Pythagoras, maybe one of them. But I believe we talked about Christ being the whole one. Oh, sin. See the etymology of the word sin, which etymology is the study of language. So it comes from three different cultures. So there's different translation. One is to miss the mark, as you mentioned. One is to divide, to sunder. So
To oppose, to
and that's
disrupt.
why Christ is the sinless one. He is whole. He is
That's
in
beautiful.
Ephesians it says, "For he is our peace, who had made both one, and he hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us." So Christ made the two one, squared the circle, as Pythagoras. And the Freemasons, if I don't want to get into conspiracy theory, but their symbolism is a square, which is used to draw a perfect square, and then a compass, a square and a compass. It's to square the circle, and then the G in the middle for geometry. You got the 12 apostles, 12 zodiac, as they're saying. There's a lot of correlation with mysticism and Christianity. So what I noticed is that I worship the light. I don't worship the light bearer. Whoever brings the light, I can go to a mosque, I can go to a temple, I can go to a church. I know that all of them are of God, filtered through a cultural lens. So this is why you have some that where you can marry children, and you can have slaves and stuff like that. But that's because that was their own cultural interpretation, like the Bible. The Bible like condoned slavery at one point in the Old Testament. In Islam,
They were confused.
Yeah. So all the religions are grasping at the same knowledge and the same light. It's just they are filtering it through their own cultural lens. Therefore, there's biases involved in there
we can
books.
overcome our biases. And I like what you said, that you honor the light, not the light bearer. So the light is the truth. The truth can be found in every messenger. So if we honor the truth,
Right.
we don't have to disrespect the messenger, but we don't have to worship the messenger either. We can worship the wisdom, the gift, the light that is, God's gift. Wisdom is God's gift for us to know. And I shared this yesterday. The future I see ahead of us in this world of corruption, we got billionaires because they manipulate and propagate fear and confusion. Illusions and deceptions and corruptions have created billionaires and poverty in this world. I see a future where mankind learns the truth of God's love, starts honoring the true treasure of wisdom that God brings forth through God's children, which is you, me, all of us. So the light of truth is revealed to us all moment by moment by moment. It's limited by what we pay attention to and what we accept or deny.
Right. Yeah. Especially what we pay attention to. That's what I've been trying to kind of focus on. I think you've kind of realized that over the conversation we had privately. I do want to say that most of the government and stuff knows this. They know this information. You see the IRS, they have these statues outside that have two pillars with hands reaching towards God. And the pillars are black and white for duality. Now, why would the IRS have these statues of hands reaching towards God and a black and white duality pillar? You see this in Freemasonry symbolism. Now, I'm not one of those that think Freemasons run the world or anything like that, but they walk in a checkered board floor.
Well, they certainly. Hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt, because the details are there. The Freemasons have certainly influenced, societies. The secret societies, including like the mindset of the mobsters, they've certainly infiltrated our governments, our corporations, our media. There is corruption all over. Secrets hide corruption. When God allows us to choose the time, I believe what we will do, particularly those of us who have been blessed to learn of the example of Jesus, those of us who have been blessed enough to awaken to the truth of our God and the truth of God's love and the opportunities that life brings forth, I believe we will choose to unite together to make sure that corruption does not continue. Why? Because we want mercy for our children. We want a better world for the future. And it's up to us. We get to choose our future destiny. By the grace of God, God determines the future results, but we choose the path. And I encourage everyone, follow the path of love. It's the only way to live. Hey, Chandler, I do appreciate you and the gifts you've offered and shared today, but I feel it's time to go replenish my energy.
Right. All right. Well, I'll leave it off on what I was saying about how the powers that be also know this wisdom. They just don't apply it in the right area, and it's quite obvious. I mean, you can see if anyone's seen the Statue of Liberty, you can see the plaque at the bottom that says "A gift to the first Masonic Republic." So there is warrant that the Masons run our government and stuff, because George Washington, I think it was Thomas Jefferson. There's a bunch of Masons that were presidents and stuff. Whether or not they are the enemy, don't know. But I do know that the government does know this information, and we have to let the masses know. That's the only way we can combat this is to share the wisdom and the light.
I agree, my friend. Thank you for doing that today, playing your part today. I appreciate you. I'm going to toss you in the back to a few more words on my own, and then I'm going to wrap up. So, blessings.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I hope you may return again. Sincerely, today, my faith, my inspiration, and I do hope some of my invitations where I shared the link, I hope some of you people join me and might be willing to, connect, have some fellowship, actually, person to person. For all of the others, all of you who joined today, and with your time, with your energy, I do hope you receive some inspiration, some faith, some seeds of thought that maybe you hadn't considered. Maybe you took some notes. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out. But really, the answers we need are all found within. See, the truth is realized from within. The answers come from within, but it's up to each of us to consciously seek the answers. Seek the truth. God is the truth. The truth is God. And the psalm, what time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Trust in the truth. Trust in the truth that God allowed you to learn, to know of, to be aware of. Trust in that truth, but be humble with the world around you so that your truth, your explanation may become refined, may become more accurate, more clear. That's what my goal is. I'm hoping to improve in the clarity of my communication. I'm hoping to adapt myself so that, my messages, the messages I feel building up in me, wanting to get out, I pray that they come through for you and that they can be received in a way that you honor, that you appreciate. But in truth, I will praise his word. His words are true. The truth is his word. God's word is truth. In truth, I have placed my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. All I fear, all I do concern is straying from God's love. I never want to stray from God's love again. That is my prayer each day. Now that I've realized God's love, now that I've found the bliss and peace of being in this oneness with the Almighty and the truth that I know and the love that I find, I might be wrong. You get to judge the truth, but don't judge me. Don't get caught up on my imperfections. Don't get caught up on your disagreements of my choice of words. I encourage you, live your life with simplicity. The simplicity of peace is available when you surrender the discontent, when you surrender your problems, your worries, your fears. Give them over to God. Give them over to the truth and allow the truth to bring the answers that you need. Lizard Tree, so many of you, sincerely, thank you for joining. Thank you for your continued support. Please do the algorithm thing, support what you can, and enjoy your day. Brothers and sisters, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, here on YouTube, on Rumble, and Facebook. Sincerely, thank you all for joining here and in the future. I'm not going to send you over to another stream today, but please stay tuned. Tomorrow's another day in this adventure, and I don't know where or what may be tomorrow. But till then, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless. Find some joy and share it today. Thank you for joining again. God bless.